What's going on, boys and girls? What's up, world? Austin John Plays here, and today we're going to be going over the 340 Pokemon that I believe are going to be in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Also, we are still doing a giveaway for a Nintendo Switch and a copy of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video for more information. That's right, Pokemon Sword and Shield, where the motto of the game is no longer catch 'em all, but that's right, I have come up with an algorithm to determine the minimum of 340 Pokemon that we're going to be seeing from generations 1 through 7 in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, why is this a big deal? Mostly because Junichi Masuda literally just said
players will be able to transfer their Pokemon from Pokemon Home only if they appear in the Galar region Pokedex.
Not all Pokemon are going to be able to be brought over into this game. They just introduced Pokemon Home, which is going to be Pokemon Bank, but also works with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, and mobile Pokemon Go, and Pokemon Sword and Shield on the Nintendo Switch. In other words, there's no national dex, and there probably won't be one ever again. However, Pokemon that don't appear in the Galarian Pokedex are not going to be able to transfer into the game. So essentially, if the game only has 500 Pokemon, those other 400 cannot be brought into the game. What are those 500 Pokemon? Well, I know 340 of them. How do I know that? Because I came up with my own algorithm based on common sense, the internet, and what I like to call Pokemon sense, which is much different from common sense. Just to be clear, this is a hypothesis and how I strategically figured out the 340 Pokemon that we're going to be seeing in Pokemon Sword and Shield returning from the previous generations. This is not guaranteed. This is a theory of games. It's a game theory. Thanks for watching. That's right, it's finally time that Game Freak said you can't have every Pokemon in your Pokemon game. And you know what? I'm actually not mad at that. I don't need every Pokemon in my game. Like, there are already so many Pokemon that are so easily forgotten to time and featured in so few games that I don't think anyone really needs them. So I've scanned over every piece of website, video, and press release regarding Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I've come up with all the Pokemon that are confirmed to be in the game, and then, using my new patented algorithm, determine the additional ones that we're going to see in this game. And after the game releases November 15th, 2019, we can look back at this video and see how accurate I was. First rule of this is that if we see one form of a Pokemon, we can deduce that we're also going to be able to obtain its pre-evolution or following evolutions if it has any. In addition, if a Pokemon has a counterpart, like Miltank is to Tauros, then we could assume that they'll both be in the game. In the first trailer we saw on February 27th, 2019, we saw the following Pokemon, in addition to the new starters: Mincino, Wishiwashi, Hoothoot, Grubbin, Zoelius, Bravery, Flygon, Wailmer, Meowstic, Lucario, Tyranitar, Munchlax, and the Space Chicken. If we exclude the Space Chicken, since we don't know the name of the Space Chicken, feel free to check out my Space Chicken theory video for more info, and we include all the Pokemon and their evolutions, that brings us up to 27 Pokemon in total. It's also fair to include Mandibuzz and Vullaby since we have Bravery, and those are a pair, as I previously mentioned, so that brings us to 29. The next trailer we got was June 5th, 2019, just before E3, and that brought us the following Pokemon, and also, sorry if I say some of these wrong: Bounsweet, Sulk, Wobbuffet, Stuffle, Hippopotas, Rhydon, Golurk, Ghastly, Duskull, Gyarados, Mudsdale, Seismitoad, Avalugg, Hawlucha, Milotic, Mantike, and I'm also including Throw because we saw Sawk, and Remoraid because we have Mantine, and all the evolutions or previous evolutions of all the Pokemon just listed. That's an additional 39, so a total of 68. In the trailer, we also saw a Rotom camera and Rotom phones, but we never see an actual Rotom. And in Sun and Moon, we have a Rotom Dex, but no Rotom to catch, so I'm not counting Rotom. It's a very Pokemon sense thing to include Rotom memorabilia and accessories, but not make it catchable. Next up is the Pokemon Sword and Shield gameplay Nintendo Treehouse Live at E3. Here we got Wingull, Bunnelby, Metapod, I always have trouble with this one, Galvantula, Machop, Snover, Castform, Vanillish, Frillish, Goldeen, Pancham, Snorunt, Arcanine, Togekiss, Lucario, and Steelix. With all their evolutions, that's 36 more Pokemon, which brings us to 104 in total. On the E3 showroom floor, there was a water gym that had a Vulpix in it for some reason, thanks A-Drive for this video, and so that and Ninetales brings us to 106. In addition, Pokemon.com features Vespiquen, Electrike, Ralts, Esper, and Swirlix. With them and their evolutions, that brings us to 117 as a final count. When it comes to the new Generation 8 Pokemon we've seen, there's Scorbunny, Grookey, Sobble, Corviknight, Wooloo, Yamper, Gossifleur, and its evolution Edelgross, Impidimp, and Dreadnought. We could assume that the starters will have 2 evolutions each, so that's 16 added to our 117 for a total of 133 Pokemon. Now for all of the starters, not including Gen 8, we have seen so far Charizard, Pikachu, Raichu, and Eevee. I think it's fair to say that we'd be able to get Bulbasaur and Squirtle to go with our Charmander line, so all of them together and the evolutions, assuming there's no new ones, those 20 Pokemon bring us to 153. Now it's time that we get out our educated guessing and Pokemon Sense. What does Pokemon Sense mean, Austin? I'm glad you asked, me, creating dialogue. First, I want to look at item evolutions. The Thunderstone makes 3 Pokemon evolve: Pikachu, Eevee, and Electic. All 3 are already confirmed in the game, so obviously we have the Thunderstone. The Firestone is used on 4 Pokemon in total: Vulpix, Growlithe, Eevee, and Pansear. The first 3 have already been confirmed, so if Game Freak is going to include this item in this game, I'm going to use Pokemon Sense to deduct that the 4th Pokemon in the game, Pansear, is going to be in the game. So let's add him in, and the 2 other monkeys, and their evolutions. That brings us up to 159 in total. With that logic applied to the Waterstone, we can also add in Poliwag, Shelder, Staryu, and its various forms, which include Politoed and the King's Rock, so we'll add in Slowpoke's line as well, so that's 11 more, which brings us to 170. Again, we're going to apply the same idea to the Leaf Stone for Bellsprout, Execute, Seedot, Oddish, and Gloom into Blossom, who needs the Sunstone, so we'll add in Sunkern, Cottonee, Petalil, and with all those in place, all 18 of them, that brings us to 188 in total. All of the Dawnstone Pokemon are already confirmed in the game, so let's add in the remaining Shiny Stone, Badoo, and Floette's line, so we're at 194. And we also saw a Rhydon in the game, so we can assume that we'll have access to the Protector, and, by Pokemon Sense, also the Electrizer and the Magmarizer. I'm probably saying those wrong. So we'll add in those 6 Pokemon, and we have the Metal Coat, which is confirmed with Steelix, so we could add in Scyther and Scizor. Those 8 bring us to an even 200. We also saw Grubbin in the trailer, so we know that there's going to be special magnetic field somewhere in the game, so we can add in Magnemite and Nosepasses lines for a total of 105. In the gameplay demo, we also saw that there's a day-night cycle in the game, which is needed for Umbreon and Espeon, so we can add in the other 7 Pokemon that require a specific time of day to evolve, including Chingling, Yungoos, Rockruff, Fomantis, Gligar, Sneasel, and Happiny. With all those in the game, that's 15 more, so that brings us to 220. Of those 7 Pokemon evolutionary lines, 3 of them require Pokemon-specific items to be held to evolve, like the Oval Stone for the Chansey line. So there's a good chance that we're going to see the Deep Sea Scale and Tooth, the Dragon Scale, the Dubious Disc, the Upgrade, and the Sachet. Those 11 Pokemon bring us to 231. And this one I'm a little iffy on, it's Fossil Pokemon. While 2 of them do require a specific time of day for them to evolve, and for other reasons that I get into later, I do feel like we're going to have some fossil Pokemon, so just for argument's sake, let's add all 21 of them into the game. That brings us to 252. I know shiny hunters love those fossil Pokemon. Now it's time for a big jump from our 252 Pokemon, and I strongly feel like we're gonna have all 153 Kantonian Pokemon in the game from Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Now, I don't think that they would have Pokemon from the one other game on the system not be able to be transferred. Plus, Pokemon always has a soft spot for Gen 1. So far, I've included 64 Kantonian Pokemon, so we're gonna add the rest of them in, the other 86, and Mew, Meltan, and Melmetal. That brings us to 341. Also, quick note of any Pokemon that I missed before, mostly pertaining to cross-generation evolutions, including Gen 1, so Pichu, Cleffa, Igglybuff, Crobat, Tyrogue, Hitmontop, Lickilicky, Tangrowth, Mime Jr., Smoochum, and also Windup because I forgot Wobbuffet got a baby form. And since we added in most of the Pokemon that require a Moonstone, we should add in Delcatty, Skitty, Munna, and Musharna. So our grand total, after all that is in place, is 356. Now, in case you were thinking about commenting right now that I didn't include the Pupper legendaries, that's fine. We're going to omit them and the 16 Galarian Pokemon that we've seen so far, so drop it from 356 back down to 340. So by my calculations, common sense, and more importantly, Pokemon sense, we can predict 340 Pokemon from Generation 1 through 7 to return to Pokemon Sword and Shield. From here, it's just a matter of the total number of Pokemon and new Pokemon that we don't have any leaks or rumors to appear to be somewhat accurate as to how many Pokemon are being included in the game, but Sun and Moon had 300, Ultra Sun and Moon had 400, and we already have 340 returning Pokemon, so we're going to deduce that this game will have between 450 and 500 Pokemon, with 65 to 100 of them being new. So if it's 500 Pokemon, with best case scenario 100 new Pokemon and 400 returning, which we figured out all but 60 of them, a lot of Pokemon that we've included require special means to evolve, such as held items, evolution stones, so we can deduce that a good 80 to 95% of Pokemon not included in my prediction will have a very simple evolution requirement. In other words, most of the 60 Pokemon are going to need very basic levels to evolve, or be one-stage Pokemon, like poor Farfetch'd. At this point, I also cross-referenced Cerebi for any Pokemon that I may have missed from the trailer and any information we have regarding Sword and Shield, and there were 24 of them, including Mimikyu, Drifloon, Drifblim, Roggenrola, Boldore, Gigalith, Chinchou, Lantern, Inkay, Malamar, Axew, Faxure, Faxoror, Bronzong, Bronzor, Goomy, Sliggoo, Goodra, Trubbish, Garbodor, Wooper, Quagsire, Wimpod, and Glisslapod, so that's 364 returning Pokemon. Who are those 36 Pokemon gonna be? It's funny how that number went down really fast. Well, I'd say a hefty amount of them are likely to be fan favorites, and Pokemon whom in previous generations had mega evolutions, like Absol, Ampharos, Heracross, Houndoom, Mawile, Aggron, Medicham, and Banette. There's also a handful of Pokemon that have appeared in every generation since their reveal, such as Basculin, Sandile, Scraggy, Zora, Omolga, Almamola, Mindfu, and Parnaward. So we may or may not keep their streak up. We can also look to Detective Pikachu for some Pokemon that we're going to be seeing, such as Snubbull, Audino, Aipom, Octillery, Exploud, and Bouffalant, and we may see an emphasis on Generation 7 Pokemon from the Alola region. And I do think that the Pokemon chosen would be a mix of the creator's favorites and Pokemon that could realistically migrate and thrive in the Galar region. Example being Pikipek is a tropical bird. Canonically, it'd be less likely to see a bird like that thrive in a colder, more climate-based region like Galar. Then, say for example, Pidgey. Pigeons are everywhere, they just don't die. When it comes to the legendaries, I don't think we're going to be getting any Ultra Beasts in the game, since their existence in Sun and Moon was heavily story-based, and when it comes to the mythicals and legendaries themselves, I don't feel like we're going to see a lot from previous generations. We might get some showing up, like, I don't know, the roaming beasts, or perhaps, and less likely, the Lake Guardians. My current number already has the 3 legendary birds, Mewtwo and Mew, as well as Meltan and Melmetal, so it's safe to say you're not going to be able to bring Keldeo over. So there we go. That's 364 returning Pokemon to Pokemon Sword and Shield by my super duper sophisticated calculations. What do you think about the 364 Pokemon that I've listed? Is your favorite here? Is it missing from this list? Leave a comment down below. If you're mad at the rule and not this video itself, please don't hit the dislike button. You can just leave a thread of comments down below about how you're not happy how all the Pokemon can't be brought into this game, and you're entitled to your own opinion. I'm personally not mad at it. Really not. Like, there got to be a point that Pokemon like Drillbur weren't special. It was just something to fill up a box with. I don't think I've ever used Drillbur, and I don't know why I keep using him as an example. He's very forgettable, but for some reason I remember to forget him. Anyways, guys, I'm wrapping this up. We're still doing a giveaway for Nintendo Switch or $300 of eShop credit, as well as a copy of Pokemon Sword or Shield. Be sure to check the link down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. Until next time, Austin John out.